Diamond.
I
Well, I
don't
don't even know his surname, man. Damon or whatever his name is. And I said to him, I said to her, so you think that's what you're looking for? She goes, yeah. So that's what personifies in her mind attraction. And she's stuck. She's been stuck for several years because she can't find anyone attractive enough to get married.
And equally, I also had a client who came to me and she went considering one person after the other, and she was sitting in loads of cafes, and every time she came out thinking, oh, this is not the right person, he's not intelligent enough, he is not earning enough, he's not. And after a very long, probably a couple of weeks of reflection, she realized that she's looking for a dad. It was her dad who was the breadwinner for the family. The dad was the role model. So subconsciously, she was going for somebody who is just like her dad. So these are all real stories. This is how, we don't think consciously enough. We think we know, but we just go with whatever is presented in front of us, and subconsciously we make choices based on what our highest expectations are. But marriage is different. It's a reality check. Ultimately, reality check. You sit in front of somebody. I remember my husband once asked me when, we kind of considered each other. So, where do you see yourself in 10 years' time? I said, I have no idea. I don't even know what I'm doing tomorrow. But this was a very real question for me, because I had to think what kind of wife I'm going to be, what kind of mother I'm going to be or want to be, inshallah. How do I see us as a family? Can I live with a person who is always busy, always doing things, or do I have a different choice? So this is the ultimate reality check, and if you have that conversation at that level with somebody, who you can look into the future and think, can I live with this person? Because it's very easy to fall for somebody, but you have to live with the character.
And I remember in the beginning, I'm that kind of a person who, I have a vision in my head of where I'm going to be in 20, 30, 40, 50 years time if I live. So when I was an 8-year-old kid in the school, I knew either I was going to be a politician when I grow up, or I was going to be a lawyer. I didn't become a lawyer, but I did stand in the last parliamentary election. So I'm a failed politician, but that's okay, I tried. So that was something that I had in my mind when I was 8. So I'm like that. The reason why I asked my wife, well, how would you like to be, what do you see yourself in 10 years' time, is because I wanted her to know my plans for Rasul, and that is, these are the things I'm going to do. I'm going to be a very public person. People will know everything about me, there will be nothing hidden, and you will have to share that space with me. Can you cope with that? Those are the reality checks you need to ask when you are looking at somebody. Can you ask that person honestly? In fact, not ask. Can you actually say to your prospective husband or wife, you know what, I'm offering X, Y, and Z. Can you cope with that? Not what I'm looking for. It's easy to give a person what you're looking for. It's easy, dead easy. I can close my eyes and say. My brother said to me once, brother, I'm looking for this person, and he gave me a long list of a sister that he's looking for. He said to me, you find a sister like that, please tell me. I said, my brother, I'm sorry to say this, but if I find a sister like this, I'll marry her first. He goes to me, but you're married already. I said, but if a woman exists like that, forget about being married, I'll marry her too. Because it's such an unreal list. So instead of making this unreal list for your marriage or marital partner, the best thing to do for you is to make a list of what are you offering. So do you know yourself?
Yeah, ultimately this is about putting yourself in front of your prospective spouse and say, this is what I know about myself, and this is what I want to be in life. So you really have to have a good grounding, who you are as a person, where you want to go in life, and then how that person would facilitate or support that journey for you. And ultimately, you will do the same for him.
And that's what the hadith meant. She's your other half, or religion, marriages. When somebody gets married, they fulfill half of their religion, and they should be fearing Allah for the other half. This is what it means. You together to make that journey. So if you're looking for somebody to wake you up for your prayers, if you're looking for somebody to remind you about the good deeds they should be doing, if you're looking for somebody who will spiritually uplift you, brothers and sisters, I'm sorry to disappoint you, it never happens. It can't happen. That change, that desire to become better must come from inside. If you don't find the motivation to pray, the wife can't motivate you to pray. She may tell you to pray, may remind you, just like my mobile phone would give me an alarm to wake up in the morning and remind me, that's what that function would be. But if my wife keeps on nagging at me for prayers, I'll resent it, saying, hey, stop it, what are you doing? What are you trying to do? So that human level moving on from expectations, I think we need to also address some other issues, which is to do with looks, which I've already talked about.
Compatibility in general.
Compatibility.
Yeah.
So do you want to talk about how we were looking at compatibilities when we got married?
Oh, I can't remember what we were doing, but...
But I said to you, I'm already married. You remember that?
Yes, I do.
Yes. I mean, I said to my wife, I'm already married. And I didn't mean I was married. I told her I'm married. I used present continuous tense. And that really shocked me.
Yes, because then he kept telling me all the other things that he's married to. He's doing lots of activities, and he's doing politics, and he's doing dawah, and he's doing all the other stuff. And he said, well, you know, can you be part of this? And it was a big step for me, because I come from a non-Muslim family, so I had no support in making a decision, like some of the brothers and sisters do have, that, you know, you can sit down, and that's so important that in terms of compatibility, you are looking at a character, and you're referencing people, you have friends of the prospective person that you can talk to, so you can get some sort of feedback. And if I'm not mistaken, this is the only time when a person has to be absolutely truthful about good traits and bad traits of a character, because that's a decision you make for life. So it was very difficult for me, but somehow...
Referencing me wasn't that difficult.
It's not about the referencing, it's about me being able to cope with what was on the table. It was so very clear that I have to really start having a different life than I had before, you know, very kind of sheltered and doing my own things. And so it became different, but somehow I think what really made me realize is that what I wanted is that I was very self-aware. I knew what I wanted in life, and that really helped me to be grounded in my decision. And I think that's what a lot of people overstep when it comes to marriage. So so in terms of compatibility, I remember once you said that no two human beings are incompatible.
I still stand by that. I don't think let me repeat that. No two human beings are incompatible. Now this is quite a profound statement to make, I know. I believe it because you can become compatible if you're willing to become compatible.
It's all about negotiation.
It's all about that willingness.
And openness too.
Correct. If, for example, I say to you, I said to people who come to our training, make 3 lists: A list, B list, and C list. A list is a non-compromising list. B list is negotiable list, and C list is desirable. You know what? At the age of 20, my A list has become desirable now. With age and time and space, things change. What was unnegotiable at one stage becomes negotiable today. So if compatibility is based on what you can negotiate and how you can compromise, you can change and you will change over time. So I'm saying compatibility issues must be based on very simple characteristics, traits, not based on the family background necessarily only. The family background is important. So for example, if you know for sure, when I met your grandmother, I knew what I was going to find, what I would be looking at when I am in my 60s and 70s. And immediately, that's the type of person I was. I immediately knew if the grandmother is the one who has brought you up, and that's what you said to me, my grandmother brought me up, I knew that's the type of a wife, or that's the type of a woman I admire, and I think in my head is the role model of a wife. And I immediately said, oh, this is your primary caretaker, and she's the one who trained you. I have no issue with that any further. So family is important to obviously find out the person's background, but not the family's color, not the family's nationality, not the family's food habit or clothes habit, or these superficials are absolutely useless. What is important is for you to find out how the families talk to one another. How do they negotiate? Do they sit around the table and talk, or do they talk through a television? Who makes the decision? How is it made? Those are the things that you need to look at when you're looking at a family. Not color, not nationality, not language. And you may want to talk about nationality a bit with my mother and my father, how it worked out for you.
Oh, I had a very fascinating journey, because I used to stay with a Bengali family when I was much younger, and never ever in my wildest dream I thought I would actually marry a Bengali man 10, 15 years down the line. But when I got married, before I got married, my father-in-law was quite resistant. Not because of me as an individual, but I think he was kind of really scared. My husband is the eldest of the family, so obviously we needed somebody who is a Bengali, of Bengali origin, who would speak, who would step up, and who would be partner for the eldest of the family to make decisions. But I was very conscious of making sure that he or they as a family are happy with me. So I did the whole Bengali thing. I was eating with my finger. I was wearing my shilwa kameez, not out of because I wanted to do something fake. I wanted them to feel that it's part of me as well. It doesn't take anything away from me. I felt I became more by doing more for them than trying to resist. You know, at the end of the day, I was actually embracing